Welcome to Beyond the 90. LCFC women have just lost 1-0. Not the best game of all, let's say. Welcome to speak by Hannah. You okay, Hannah?
I'm fine after that result. I'm glad I'm not the one that was doing the intro for once on the one loss. I'm not doing it.
Great, that's all I'll be doing this for. Austin, you okay?
Yeah, I mean, I'll get over this victory. Hopefully, get on to next week. I need it to come really quickly after that game.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Let's get straight into it. So, Hannah, champions going into this game started off with an amazing guard of honour, which I thought was really nice to see. Expectations, I think, for us Leicester fans were quite high going into this one. 12 on the bounce. Looking at the team sheet, I thought, yep, got the right team. They can do this. What were your expectations going into this game?
I was pretty mixed because looking at FA Cup last week, we had that performance against Liverpool, but then Lewes also lost to Southampton, which is in the division below. So going into this, I was like, okay, like that's interesting to see. So of course, also being as a Leicester fan, like you said, like we have those high expectations. We're so used to winning now. 12 on the bounce is like you're expecting goals, you're expecting wins and stuff. And like the commentators were saying today, like that was the first time in the league that we had not scored in the game all season. So I was not expecting that whatsoever. I don't think anyone was. But I have to give credit to Lewes where it's deserved because they were on top of everything and their goalkeeping was amazing. Kirsty Lavelle also had some really outstanding saves. Of course, there were a few moments where I was like, ooh, but she it could have easily been like 2 or 3 for them, maybe even 4, but she kept those out, so I'm thankful for that.
And Austin, looking at the lineup, what did you think of the lineup? Were you a bit apprehensive or quite confident we can get the win?
I mean, with our lineup and our depth, I mean, I think I'm always confident we can get a win. We keep raving on about how we got all these great players even on our bench. He did change it up a little bit today with not having Sam Tierney in, having Cataldo and Sophie Howard in. But yeah, it was just not the performance that we usually see from our team.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. So looking at the first half, Hannah, any highlights? I know there weren't many, but any highlights for you in the first half? Obviously, there was that decision, which I think actually probably just made the wrong call on that. But these things happen. So first half, what were your views on the first half?
Yeah, and you can definitely tell from Ashley, like as soon as she finished off that challenge, she realized what she did and she knew that she was at fault there and she was like, oh. But I mean, that's what it yeah. And the first half highlights, I have to bring up Kirsty Lavelle because she made one outstanding save in the first half. I was like, thank goodness it's kept us out. I was hoping that she was going to save that penalty, and I had so much faith because I was like, she's such a great keeper. She might save this penalty, but like, how often is it that a penalty gets saved? So obviously, I wasn't too surprised when that happened. And then, of course, Libby Smith, I believe it was in the first half. Yeah, she had a good chance on goal. She had that one attempt. Fortunately, it obviously didn't make it in, but overall, like it was a bit tricky picking out highlights in this game because it just, to put it this way, I guess it didn't feel like I was watching the Leicester that we're used to, but every team has a rough day. That was today for Leicester.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's one of them bad days at the office. BM, who's always commenting on our shows, thanks for joining us again. Do you think coming off the adrenaline high of confirming the title and moving on to the next round of the FA Cup affected the players at all today? And I think that's a tough question, if I'm perfectly honest. We see teams, men's and women's teams, when they win the league, the next game, they're probably still celebrating a bit in their heads, and it is difficult to prepare for. What are your views on that, Austin?
I think you hit the nail right on the head. I just think, I mean, you can preach all the time about keep playing, but I mean, it's still in that back of your head that you already really this game you have nothing to play for. I mean, you really our focus right now is really on the FA Cup. So I think definitely some way that affected our performance today.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we've said it before. So kind of going back to half time, obviously we've seen in the past few weeks that second half we've been a lot better. So honestly, at half time I was thinking, right, we can win this 2-1 easily. What were your views at half-time? Did you think we should have changed anything?
Halftime, I was kind of distracted by that constant betting ad that kept coming up. But yeah, I think at halftime I was mostly thinking like we need a couple changes to come in just to kind of, because things were looking shaky and it looked like we needed some movement pushing forwards and stuff because Lewes just kept like pushing around and making that movement forward, which we're not used to seeing. Like, I feel like that's probably the most we've seen of Kirsty in a match because we're not used to the opposition getting back. We're used to that midfield and that defense just like knocking it out straight away, and we're used to pushing forward constantly. And I found like we were really moving forwards and we were pushing forwards to create attempts on goal, but they just weren't working out. So of course, halftime I was thinking that, but I was mostly thinking like every halftime, if we're down, I'm thinking like, hey, Remy Allen and Sophie Barker are probably giving such a good talk, same with Jonathan Morgan, because we've seen the players say previously, like, we've been given this halftime talk from these players, and it's what really pushed us forward. When we spoke with Ashley, she mentioned how Remy helped her when she was in that midfield position at halftime, telling her this is what you should be doing. And yeah, I definitely think that was the huge thing that I was keeping in mind, but it was just really difficult. And we were seeing players falling out due to injuries as well. Sophie Howard being taken off, that was concerning. And then, of course, we saw Sophie Barker taken out, and she had to stay on in that second half. So when those subs did come on, we weren't able to take her off. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's one of those days.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Sophie's injury at first looked a bad one. But then it didn't seem as bad as I thought it was going to be. So hopefully she'll recover in time for next Sunday, or at least she'll hobble onto the pitch to lift the trophy up. Austin, going on to the second half, any highlights for you?
Other than kind of the touch of Flint in the last 15, it was very, very lackluster because usually we say our best time is right before halftime or right after halftime. That's when we usually get onto the games, and it just didn't happen. But kind of it took us a while, and I think the subs that came on really helped us. I think Charlie Devlin really helped us today. She was probably our best player, at least in the second half. But Natasha's couple shots she had two pretty good opportunities, especially the one that she had a really, really great touch and forced a really good save from their keepers, their best player of the match. But yeah, that was kind of it.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. There wasn't really that much. Tana, as a Leicester point of view, who would you give woman of the match to?
Oh, that's hard. Because I feel like I'm so used to there being like really standout players.
Yeah.
But today you could tell that they were just really working together to try to make things happen. Of course, like Austin said, Austin really helped out in the second half. Devlin really helped out in the second half. But yeah, it was Cataldo was really good. I saw commentators were mentioning her as well. I saw people on Twitter mentioning that she was doing well, and that's not a player that you're used to seeing consistently in the starting 11. So it was good to see her have a good performance. Of course, we did see her get taken off, but yeah, and I think Esme DeGraff, when she came on too, in replacement of Sophie Howard when she was taken off due to that injury, we saw her trying to really push things as well. So it's tough to say who my player of the match is going to be because it was just a whole. They're all working together today.
Yeah, I think you're right. Is there anyone that stood out for you, Austin?
Yeah, I think Charlie Devlin, when she came on, she provided a little bit of spark. Obviously, not enough, but I think, like Hannah was saying, they were working hard together. It wasn't like we just kind of gave up. We kept trying. It just didn't come off today. It happens, and we just got to move forward, learn our lessons, get on next week.
Yeah, I think it's really good that when we win, we can't pick a player of the match, and when we lose, we can't pick a player of the match. They're either all equally as good or equally as bad. But I think that comes part and parcel of being a Leicester fan. So going forward next week, Charlton at home. Obviously, after the game, the trophy will be presented. What are your views on next week, Hannah?
I'm excited, and I think that if we look at this result compared to the London City result where we lost, not the one where we won the league, unfortunately, Jonathan said that result was a blessing in disguise, and I think he's going to be taking this result and kind of using that same thing of this is going to be a bit of a blessing in disguise because the team is probably just going to want to come back as hard as possible against Charlton, especially with that trophy lift happening. So I think that they're going to use this as a bit of a fire, and I'm excited to see what happens. I'm mostly excited to see that trophy lift. I'm really excited to see that trophy lift. Like, I remember tweeting after we won the league, I was like, if you think I'm tweeting a lot right now, wait until we lift that trophy. People are going to be, I'm going to lose probably hundreds of followers, but I'm excited.
I say you should be. Your team's won the league. So I'm really looking forward to next week. We know there's a media blackout due to all the horrible online trolling that's been of players, women and men's seem to get trolled for some reason. No one knows why. And it's these horrible trolls that have caused all the football clubs to say, well, we're having a media blackout for that weekend. Obviously, it affects the men on Friday night against Southampton. Will probably also affect the women on the trophy lift. But I think there'll be enough media down there at the ground taking enough photos for Hannah to repost every single photo. So next week, Austin, Charlton, do you think we'll bounce back with a win, or is it more concentrating on the trophy lift than anything else?
I think we got to bounce back with a win. I mean, lifting the trophy is such a special thing, and I think if any of the games we play other than the one against United, I think this will be the one that they really go for because you don't want to lift the trophy after losing. That just stinks. Like, it just kind of ruins the moment. So I think come back with a win, come back with a resounding win. I mean, I think that was our first time all season without scoring in the league. So I think we'll really try to go after that game and get those 3 points.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I think we will as well. And quite looking forward to the trophy lift. I think it'd be good to see. I'm also hoping that they do something for the fans at some point. It's a bit of a shame that none of the fans can be down there. So hopefully when all the restrictions are lifted in the UK, they'll try and do something for the fans with a bit of luck. So looking forward, Hannah, FA Cup, Man United. How far do you think Leicester can go in this year's FA Cup?
You know me, I don't predict. But I think obviously today it kind of scares you a little bit, but at the same time, they had a great performance against Liverpool. Liverpool did give them a bit of a challenge in the FA Cup. But if we looked at the previous FA Cup, we gave Manchester City a bit of a run for their money. They only beat us 2-1, which no one was expecting. I was talking to someone the other day, and they're like, that was the weirdest thing I ever saw. Because they're like, that is not what we were expecting to see whatsoever. So I'm not going to doubt Leicester in any way. We saw Liverpool knock Manchester United out of the Conti Cup this season. So I think that Leicester have a great chance, and Leicester are a phenomenal team. Sure, today sucked. It wasn't great, but that's not going to make me doubt them whatsoever against Manchester United. And I think that they're definitely going to have fuel. They're going to be playing against United. We've got Devlin, who came from United as well, so we're going to see her up against her former side. So I think it's going to be awesome. Of course, I'm a bit nervous. I'm nervous going into any game, but I definitely think we have a chance.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think also after winning the league, they'll probably want to show the world that they are ready for the WSL.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see them being really up for the game. Man United will probably be up for the game, but they might also be thinking they're a championship side. We should be brushing these aside. So I think it's one of them. Let's show the world how good we really are, and expect them all to be really up for it and firing on all cylinders. Yes, it'll be a tough game, but hopefully they can get past Man United in the cup. Austin, how far do you think they can go this year?
I mean, we can go as far as as long as we play our game. I mean, we've shown that our game can upset those top tier sides. I mean, we only lost by 1 to City, and we only lost by 1 to Bristol City, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, we can play with those teams up there, and as long as we play our game, which I know we'll be up for that game, because I mean, you always want to play those top tier sides and really show that you can play with them and can compete with them. So I think we'll really be ready, and we'll see how the draws go. But I mean, this team has a chance to go decently far in this competition.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And I think with regards next week on the channel, we'll discuss whether we will be doing anything or not with regards to Blackout. I think it'd be nice for us fans to get together and talk about the trophy lift, if I'm honest. But we'll see how that goes. So anything to add on today's game, Hannah? I know it wasn't the best game. It was pretty dull from our point of view. And I've not seen us play that bad all season. But no doubt the girls all know that in the training room at the minute. They're a little bit angry and they'll want to bounce back. And I think they'll hit training hard this week.
Yeah, definitely. As much as today sucked, and we've mentioned how much it sucked numerous times, it's still a phenomenal team. We have a phenomenal side, and I see them bouncing back against Charlton. I don't know why they wouldn't. I want to give a shout out to the team over at Lewes for the production they do. That was a really great stream. We had replays, we had multiple camera angles, we had great commentary. Of course, we still heard a lot of Plumtree, but he was awesome. I loved it. So I love what they're doing over there, and I hope that we can see more clubs doing that in the future, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's sort of around this 50+1 that we've seen a lot in the news because of the European Super League, around fans owning the clubs. And I know that Lewes, they're a fan-based club. The fans own the club. They do everything for the fans, and I think it's really good to see. And like you say, the stream was great. All streams this season and commentators, not going to lie. But I think that was really good to see. So Austin, any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, same as y'all. Shout out to Lewes and their team. Commentators really good. Other than messing up the USC's in Southern Cal, not South Carolina. I'm a little bit upset about that, but I always take the shout out for my state. But yeah, shout out to them. It was a great stream, great commentary. Shout out to their players. They played extremely well today. They deserved the 3 points.
Okay, that's great. If you like this video, like it, subscribe to us. We'll be back Tuesday night with a very, very special guest. Thanks, guys. It's been really good, and I shall talk to you both later.
Thank you.
Thank you.